Okay, section 2.4 in day 2, we're going to talk about getting an equation in standard form. Now, we talked about slope-intercept form before, which was y equals mx plus b, and this is a little bit different. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. Now, where it says here where a, b, and c are real numbers, and a and b are not both 0. Okay, so a couple of different things that we look at. You'll notice about how this form looks different than slope-intercept form. In this form, x and y are on the same side of the equation, okay? And you'll notice when we start going through kind of looking at some rules, a and b cannot be fractions. They have to be whole numbers. All right, so I'm going to show you how to work those. And then also a and b cannot both be 0. So again, as we look here, the goal is to get x and y to the same side of the equation with the real number on the other side. Whether it be right or left, we want the real number all by itself, and we want x and y to be on the side together. Okay. Again, part 2, a and b cannot both be 0, and a and b cannot be fractions or decimals. And I'm going to show you how to change that and get rid of that. Okay. All right, so let's dive into the first example here. And it says here, I want to know what is the equation of this line in standard form. So we have y equals 3/4 x minus 5. And I want to put that in standard form. So again, I want to get x and y to the same side. So what I need to figure out is, are x and y on the same side of the equal sign? Well, no, they're not. So what I want to do is I want to move this term. Okay, I want to move this over. All right, so I want to move, in order to move 3/4 x over to the other side, I am going to have to subtract it. So I'm going to subtract 3/4 x. Now, a couple of things on this. Are these like terms, negative 3/4 x and y? No, they're not. And because they're not like terms, I cannot combine them and make them one thing. So when I do this, I'm going to have to say that this is negative 3/4 x, and in this case the y is positive, and it's going to equal the negative 5 that's left over. Okay, now, as I look at this, are x and y on the same side? Okay, so as I'm looking, x and y on the same side, constant, just a whole number, is over here on the right side. Now, there's one problem that's left over. In this case, okay, this a value, first of all, cannot be a fraction. So I'm going to have to get rid of that fraction. And a cannot be negative. A has to be a positive number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this entire equation by what the bottom number is on the fraction, or 4/1 in this case. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this 4 here to the y and to the negative 5. Okay, so over here I've got 4/1 times negative, and excuse me, it's going to be negative 4/1 because the a value has to be positive. So negative 4/1 times 3/4. Well, negative 4 times negative 3 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4. And 12 divided by 4 then gives me 3. So this is going to be 3x. Okay, 3x. Now, next thing I'm going to look at, I'm taking negative 4/1, or negative 4 times y. Well, negative 4 times y is negative 4y, and that's going to equal negative 4/1, or negative 4 times negative 5, which is positive 20. Okay, and now you'll notice that there are no fractions, there's no decimals. In this case, I can say a is 3, that's a positive number, b is negative 4, and c is 20. And now you have your equation in standard form. Okay, ax plus by equals c. Okay, let's take a look at the next example here. This one's a little bit different because I've got some decimals in here, and that's okay. All right, so here's our equation. Y equals 9.1x plus 3.6. Okay. Again, are x and y on the same side? They are not. So in order to do that, I'm going to subtract 9.1x. Okay. So, again, I can't combine those, so this is negative 9.1x plus y is going to equal 3.6. Okay. Now, as I look at this, x and y are on the same side. Okay. Now, can I have decimals? No. Decimals are just like fractions. So how do I get rid of a decimal? Well, if I want to move a decimal one spot to the right, I'm going to take 9.1 times it by 10. When I do that, I'm going to get 91, or I moves it one spot to the right when I multiply it by 10. Okay? So you'll notice I get rid of that decimal. Now the decimal's gone. It's behind it. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to multiply everything, not just by 10, but because this first number is negative, I want it to be negative. Okay, so negative 10 times negative 9.1. If you do this on your calculator, you will end up with positive 91x. By multiplying by 10, it's going to move that decimal to the right. Plus, I'm going to take negative 10 times y. Negative 10 times y, in this case, it isn't going to be plus. So it's going to be minus 10y. And then I'm going to take that negative 10 and I'm going to multiply it by 3.6. And on your calculator, if you take negative 10 times 3.6, it's going to give me negative 36. Okay, now as you look at this, you'll see no decimals, no fractions. My a value is 91. My b value is negative 10. And my c value is negative 36. That is now in standard form. Okay, this last example that I have, I just wrote down, and it's not in your notes, so you're going to want to add this to it because you're going to see a problem like this today. And it's going to start in point slope form, and I want to put it in standard form. So remember, standard form here is ax plus by equals c. Remember, okay? And a and b are on the same side. X and y are on the same side. So, as I'm doing this problem, in order to get this in standard form first, I've got to distribute this 3/4 through, because I got to get rid of my parentheses before I do anything. So the y minus 8 is going to stay the same. 3/4 times x is 3/4 x. 3 over 4 times negative 4, or negative 4 over 1, is going to be negative 12 over 4. Well, negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. So this is going to end up being minus 3. Now, you can use your calculator too and type that in. 3/4 times negative 4 over 1, and you're still going to get negative 3. Okay, so now that I've got that complete, I want to get x and y to the same side. And I notice that already the x value is positive, so I don't want to move that because my x value, I want my first term, a, I want to be positive. So I'm going to go ahead and move this y, which means if I move the y, I got to move the negative 3 as well. So I'm going to subtract y. And I'm going to subtract y. And then I'm going to go ahead and add 3. Because the 3 has got to get out of there too. So in this case, my y's go away. Negative 8 and positive 3 is negative 5. My 3/4, not 4/3, so don't make that screw up. 3/4 x. We subtracted y here, and these guys go away, make 0. Okay, now, is x and y on the same side? They are. As I look at this, and I notice that most of you probably are looking at this going, well, wait a second here. Usually, as I look at this, the ones on the right side are usually over here, and the ones on the left side are usually over here. So let's do this. Let's take both sides and let's flip-flop them. So this is going to be 3/4 x minus y equals negative 5. That way everybody sees it, and it's just like our normal ax plus by equals c. Okay? You don't have to do that step, but sometimes it makes it easier. Okay, so I notice I got a fraction, so I can't have a fraction, so I got to multiply everything in this case by the bottom number, which is 4. And what you're going to see is going to happen here. 4 over 1 times 3 over 4, or 4 times 3/4, is going to be 3 if you plug that into your calculator. 3x minus 4 times negative y is negative 4y. And 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And now I'm in standard form. A is a positive number 3, B is negative 4, and C is negative 20. Okay, now I know there's a lot to this, and you got a handful of class kick examples. There's no more videos for this section, so again, if you need to rewind, go back and rewind and look and see exactly how I did things. Okay, make sure you wrote some things down here too, but you should be able to complete your class kick examples now.